Hey everybody, welcome back to the next C++ video, and today we're going to go over iterators in a vector. And a way to think about an iterator is just a way to traverse through a vector. It's going to simply iterate through the vector. And in order to begin, we need to, as you saw, I just deleted hash include iterator. Alright, that lets us use it. So, if you didn't see my vector video, and you don't know anything about vectors, you can go ahead and watch that, and then you'll be more aware of what's going on with this. So I created a vector called cats of type integer, and I made the size 5. So let's say we want to go through this vector and have the user enter a value for each spot in this vector. What we can use other than a for loop is an iterator. So, well, I guess we're going to use a for loop anyway, but we're going to go vector, type int, and then this, and then iterator. I always felt like that, iterator. And then we can name it whatever, so I'm going to name it it. It's going to equal cats.begin. So what this does is, it just points to the very first spot of this vector. This value it's going to point to the very first spot. So if we want to cin a value for it, and then cout. So why am I putting this asterisk right here? Well, this denotes the value. So we're changing the value, therefore we need this. Alright, it might sound a little confusing, but that's just the way it is. So it's wanting us to enter a value. We're going to enter 3, and then there we go. 3 is written back to us. So it put 3 into the first spot of the vector because it is pointing to the beginning of the vector. If we don't put this, bad things occur. Yeah. So you always have to put an asterisk when you're changing the value or reading it out. Okay? So this is a lot right here. This vector int dot, or 4 dots, and then the iterator. Another way we can do this is simply by putting auto. It is equal to cats, dot begin. So what it'll do is it'll see this, it'll say, okay, it is going to be an iterator of a vector type int, because that's what cats is, and we're just going to, so this right here is replacing all of this. It just does it on its own. We let C++ handle it, and yeah, it just does its own thing. So I do that, and that makes it so much more simpler. And there we go. So what we can do, remember when I put cin and then a value for it? Well, if we want to go to the next spot, we can do it plus plus. So that'll point to the next spot in this vector. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a for loop. For, and I'm going to take this, put it here. So this is the start, and until it does not equal, or keep going until it equals cats dot end. And we go it plus plus. So it's going to keep incrementing until it is equal to cats dot end, which is the last spot. And it'll keep incrementing until then. So then we can enter values into each spot. Then what I'll do is just read them out at the end. I don't know what I did here. Cout. Okay. Go ahead and run this. So we'll be entering 5 different values. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there we go. We can see it read it back. Another cool thing we can do is do it in reverse. So maybe after I enter, I want to read it back in reverse. We can do R begin and R end. That just does everything in reverse. So if I want to put 1, 5, 6, 7, 9, 9, 7, 6, 5, 1. That just read it back in reverse. So the beginning went to the reverse begin, which is actually the end, and the end is at the reverse end, which is actually the beginning. Of course, it sounds pretty confusing, but it's not so tricky once you just realize, oh, it's the reverse. It's going to start at the end and end at the beginning. Okay? So iterators are a little tricky sometimes just to visualize what's going on. And also don't forget that if you're reading out the value or changing the value, you need this asterisk. If not, it will not work. Okay, so that's just another way to go through a vector. Yeah, so you have two options now. You can just use a for loop with, if we were going to do this, cats, I is equal to blah, blah, blah. Or you can do the iterator approach, which is this is equal to blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that is, in short, iterators. Yeah, we can probably do an example next video, maybe a little problem, and kind of implement this and go over it some more. Maybe give you more practice with it. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.